All the content contained in this webcast is for informational purposes only. The investments and strategies contained in this webcast may not be suitable for you. Please consult your own independent financial advisor before making any investment or trading decisions. Good morning, traders and investors around the world, and welcome to Friday's Triple Witch edition of Premarketinfo.com, where we prepare you for the most important hour of the day, the first hour. Good morning to you, Dennis. Have the S&Ps trading up 3 points, but it's actually 6 points over fair value.
Yeah, we got the SPX did close, so we had a little run there in the last 15 minutes. And just when we talk about fair value, when we talk about that, Joe, maybe we just quickly explain it. Basically, the cash is closed at 13.29. The futures are actually open till 4:15, and then they close there. So if they have a run up in the last, in which they did yesterday, where they ran up 3 points in that 15 minutes, then fair value is actually up 3 points from there. So when you see us up three, that's based on that. You have to add that, so we're actually up six.
And a lot of people base a lot of opening strategies on fair value calculations, correct?
Yeah, especially on the triple witch days, a lot of it has to do with fair value. So you have arbitrage players that come in and they will place orders based on fair value, especially at the open.
Okay, looking at the activity, made it high at 1332.75. Got a slippery slope here between 1330, which was Monday's intraday high. Remember that long time ago? Monday, we hit
I
1330.
know, we talked about that. We needed to hold that, and we did.
And then getting up to 1340, that was Monday's Globex high. So above this 1330 area is a lot of air, so keep an eye on that 1332.75. Coming back on the downside, you have the close at 1326 and a quarter. The Globex low 1324 and a half. So let's call that whole area 13.5, 1325. As long as we hold that area, we're good to go to north. Dennis, it's just the news. News. European banks are going to bail them out no matter what, seems to be the mantra.
Well, that was the rumor yesterday, which was driving us higher. There was more comments after the close saying the ECB will come in if needed to provide liquidity. So if it gets ugly in Greece over the weekend, they will do some monetary easing over in Europe. And I think that's what's driving these European banks up here this morning. You've got a lot of them trading much higher. Barclays won here. BCS is trading up at 12.55 right now after closing at 12.11. Great run up here for BCS.
Keep an eye on 1265. That's what we've hit in the pre-market. Looking at support, you could look at all these tops that we busted through here. Let's use 1222 as major support. That was yesterday's high. Kind of free reign in this thing, Dennis, up to the $13 level. 1318 was a high on May 11th.
Yeah, it really is here. We're cutting above that high from 3 or 4 days ago at 1231. So that if the stock can really get into move, it's kind of open here. There's not that many reference points, so I think you're right. I think it could, but for a stock to go from 12.11 to $13, hard to do that in one day. I think it's, but pullback's probably going to find some buyers in this one.
Okay, ING is getting a lift as well.
ING is getting a lift here as well. Here, my charts are coming up slow. Not sure why that problem is. But ING is trading up here at 612 right now after closing at 593.
Okay, that stock bumped on the low 570s here back in June 1st. That was our low. We had a triple bottom here the last 3 days. 576 is a big number, so we'll keep an eye on that on the downside. Looking at the pre-market activity for ING, just scattered trades here, but the high has been 616, so keep an eye on that. Our next reference point after that will be awful close to that 650 level, but let's call 639 major resistance.
Yeah, just from that high from 5 days ago. And that is a nice triple bottom. A lot of triple bottoms we're finding in a lot of different stocks here.
Okay, Royal Bank of Scotland. The Scotties are getting a lift this morning.
Well, these are European banks are flying. Look at this one, 770. This is trading right now after closing. That's a huge move for the stock here. 714 is where it closed. Taking out, going above the 750 area. You get in this 8 area, it's got some major resistance up there, but kind of just open here too. Like we had this whole, if you look at the run these European banks have had, if you go back to the beginning of June, we started forming the triple bottom there just above above the $6 level. Then we had the run up to 7. We consolidated, pulled back for about 5, 6 sessions, and now we're running again. So technicians will often say the previous move, if you look before the consolidation, is often equal to the next move. We ran up 85 cents from that 7. Now you could say its base is at 7. That would put you up at 7.85 to that $8 area if you're just following that pure technical pattern.
Pretty close in the pre-market. 771 is where we've topped out. Some highs just above the $8 level. May 4th and May 7th, 811, 816. But whew, that'd be another 40 cents, Dennis. I don't know. I don't know if it has the juice to get up that high
I
today.
don't know either. I think you could see, but it is a triple wedge. You'll see a little bit more of these stocks flying around here. Although the European banks just track usually what they're doing over in Europe, so I'm not sure how much our triple wedge expiration will affect these. But regardless, you've got some major resistance up there, and whether it gets there today, tomorrow, or over the next week, it's hard to say though too. You know, these things can turn around. They're all fundamental news is driving these things too, and when fundamentals take hold, then technicals take a back seat.
Even Credit Suisse is getting a bounce.
Even Credit Suisse getting a bounce after its ugly, ugly day yesterday when they were advised that they maybe should think about cutting their dividend. Stock is bouncing here a bit, not as strong as the other ones here. Like some of these are up 5, 6%. Credit Suisse only up about 2% here, trading 1835, but is getting a rally back. Difficult to short these stocks in this area just because it has the gap area, doesn't have a lot of reference points, but I don't think this stock's going to fill the gap, Joel.
Okay, I'm going to give you guys the pre-market high and low here. The pre-market high's been 1849, and it's looked like the pre-market low's been 1821. And the reason I'm giving you folks these numbers is because Credit Suisse did hit 1772 in the pre-market yesterday, but could not reach that level during the day session. So whoever was out there buying in the middle of the night was buying during the day session too. So if you're a long-term player and you want to take a shot here, that 1782 could be the bogey here. Could be the low of the move to go up and fill the gap. And of course, we got to talk about the biggest and baddest of all the European banks, Deutsche Bank.
Deutsche Bank is trading up just a little bit here too, not as much. Some of these, it's funny. You got the little ones like ING, RBS, BCS really taking off, and some of the bigger ones like Deutsche Bank only up 30 cents. So 1%, kind of disappointing considering the moves in some of these other stocks. This stock has had some major consolidation here in this 34.50 area, we'll call it. It is starting to move up, but you do have some highs, so there is some reference points on this one. 36.79 from 4 sessions ago, and 37.11. So, and it just looks like I think this stock's just going to run into some sellers here as it goes up, and not surprising that it's just not rallying as much as the other ones, Joel.
Okay, did hit 35.87 in the pre-market, but you know why it's not rallying above that level?
Why?
Because they know I'm going to mention the triple top here from 35.41 to 35.57. Those are the last 3 days highs. We are
Ah.
trading right here. If we can hold that level, we can continue this nice rally. And Deutsche Bank, if not, Dennis, we could slide right back down to 34.50.
Yeah, this whole 35.5 area, good call there. When you change the charts, you get a different picture. I was looking at daily, then you go to a 5 day, and you're like, oh, there is some resistance up here in this 35.5 area. So it's kind of hanging out there. Keep an eye on the other banks. It's hard to say. It starts to break up above this 35.50 area. It did run down quickly back on the 11th, so it could probably run up quickly to that 36 area if it can start to get solidly above that 35.50 in the regular session.
Okay, so if you had bought that J.P. Morgan when I talked you out of it, Dennis, would you still be holding it, or would
Well,
would you be hoping to get out at 35 today?
I was buying it for an investment. It's funny. I have two accounts. I got an investment account, and I have that just off to the side, so I don't look at that every day, so I don't trade out of it. And then I have my trading account. In my trading account, the stock would be long gone if I had bought it in there. But in my investment account, I'm pretty good at holding stuff in there, sometimes for years. So I probably would have still had that in the investment account. So you're still not forgiven on this one there, Joel.
Okay, it looks like someone wants out of $35 here,
Big
Dennis.
number, big
Yeah,
number.
May 17th high had a 35.10. That was almost a month ago. Got up to 35.07 yesterday. Sellers came and stepped down to the 34.89 level. So I had 35 to me shaping up to be major resistance. Looking at the pre-market activity, it did hit 35, 35.04 was the high in the pre-market. So we got a great level of reference level here in J.P. Morgan. What about Goldman Sachs? I mean, should they take the gold out of their name or what? I mean, look at this stock.
Yeah, just going nowhere. I was noticing that yesterday. Kept flirting with being down on a day when a lot of other financials were very strong. This stock just has not participated. Although you can argue it's starting to round and starting to form a bit of a bottom here. If we go just out to the last 5 days, we
Oh
are
yeah.
starting to form some support in the mid 92s. We need to get
Hmm.
above because we're forming resistance over the last 4 or 5 days just above 94. We need to start getting above this 94 area, start getting above 95, and then it starts to open up. You get above 95, it opens up, but until we get above there, it keeps getting hit with sellers.
That is about as nice as bottom as I've seen since the last edition of the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue. I mean, I mean, look at this: 92.50, 92.66, 92.27,
Yeah,
92.51.
yeah.
Folks, you don't see formations like that very often. I mean, someone is stepping up to the plate here at this level. Even though we snuck down to 90.55 a couple days ago, this 92.50 a level to enter, perhaps a stop below 90. A target could be anywhere near 100. But interestingly, too, Dennis, this has a nice formation on the upside. 94.42 was the high from Wednesday. 94.29 was the high yesterday. Had a little high about 94. I would say above 94.50, and this stock could really catch on fire.
Yeah, that's what I think too. If we can get above that 94.50, but kind of look at that 1, 2, 3. Is that five bottoms though in the 92 area? Is it five, Joel? Or is it still four? Looks like five. And you want to know something? I looked it up. It's a quintuple or quintuple.
Quintuple.
Quintuple. Well, I guess you say
Quintuple.
quadruple, so quintuple. So it's not whatever we were saying. So that's how you say five bottom. It's quintuple. You can correct me if I'm saying it wrong. I actually looked farther though because who knows? It seems like we have these bottoms. So if you have six, it's called a sextuple. If you have seven, it's a septuple. If you have eight, it's an octuple. Nine is a noncouple. And 10, get what 10 is? It's a decouple. We get 10 bottoms, maybe we're decoupled.
What, Dennis, did you do that when you got up at 4 this morning to start trading? Things a little slow?
Yeah, I looked into five. I was like, I got to figure out what you say for five when you have, because if it's a quadruple bottom or four bottoms, we say quadruple. And we've been saying, well, five times. What do you say for five? So
Right.
quintable, I guess. I guess that's how you'd pronounce
I
it.
guess that's the Canadian version of it.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. We always show you you guys scary looking charts, and they're usually charts that are going straight down and straight up. But I'll give you a scary looking chart here, and it's Apple Computer, Dennis. Look at this consolidation. I mean,
Yeah,
what's gonna
yeah.
happen now with this stock?
The relative strength, I was saying this with my friend Chris there yesterday. He's a big Apple trader, and we were saying the relative strength on this is terrible the last 3 or 4 days. It's not participating in the rallies. Every time the SPOOs go to break, it tries to break too, but the SPOOs are holding them up because the market, think about what the market's done this week. We bottomed at 1300, 4 days ago, and now we're trading up at 1330, so the market's up good 2.5%. This has gone nowhere fast. It is scary the relative strength on this thing. If we look out just to the last 5 days session, we need to start getting away from this whole 570 to 575 area because we keep hanging out here. And if we take out that low, we'll go back from back onto the 12th. The low, I think there, Joel, if I'm right, was 566.70. If that goes, Katie bar the door, I think the stock's in trouble. So you need to, that low needs to hold.
Yeah, well, we hit 588.50 during that euphoric Monday there when they were talking about what
Yep.
they were going to unveil, and boy, the luster sure came off that stock. A couple lows in the mid 570s. I'd have to agree with you here, Dennis. 570, 567.26 as was the low from yesterday. Looking at that, you had the 7 day low at 565.50, and I think it's after that 565.50 is where you're going to get your immediate 7 point drop to the 8 day low of 558.33. So I don't think I'd go a little bit lower on the downside as far as looking confirming the breakdown. Talking about a stock that's breaking down, what is going on with Google?
Google has not had good relative strength either here. That stock continues to just move down. Had huge consolidation a month ago, right in that whole 600 area. Kept trading there, kept bottom there. Then took it out, came back, retested it a bit, but then continued to fall. Every bounce has been met with more sellers. The stock continues to look not too nice on the chart. Another tech. A lot of people do trade Google, Apple. They kind of trade them together. I don't know why, but they do. But the stock does not look good. If we go out to the weeklies here, we start breaking down below some of these lows of 550, 555 area. The stock could be in a world of trouble.
Yeah, going out, Dennis, looking at the monthlies here, this 560 area is just huge. We have cut through that. 556, 52 has been the low of this 100-point break here from the euphoric earnings news a little over a month and a half ago. 556, Dennis, I'd keep an eye on that level. We break below there, we could be migrating back towards 500.
Yeah, chart not liking a couple of these techs here, Joel.
Okay, just briefly talking about some of the Big Ten. ExxonMobil has really rebounded from trading in the 70s for a while, now getting back in the mid 82s. The only thing I want to mention that Thursday's high 82.50 coincides with the 13-day high at 82.64.
82.50's got some size in the book too, so
Okay.
this is a critical number for this stock. We often talk about size at the whole numbers. I'm seeing size in that 82.50 area. Those high frequency guys. I think that's why you seen it top out yesterday at 82.50. And if you look at the chart here, man, there's multiple highs. Let's go back and just look in the middle of May. There was multiple highs in this whole upper 82s.
Yep.
I did get up to 83 or close to 83 there, but once you get into these mid 82s into the upper 82s, there's just sellers all over the place. I would expect that to be the case again because this stock, you can always talk about 50% moves too. We were up at 88 bucks, Joel. If we go back, I'm just trying to grab it there, 87.52 in early May. We broke down, got all the way down to 77.13, so basically 10-point fall. Well, 5 points up from here puts us into those mid 82s. That's a 50% retracement of the move. You are running into multiple tops in this area. I think this stock is going to struggle to get over. I think in the upper 82s, it's going to find sellers.
And if you're trading stocks, it's always good to have another stock that you look at as an indicator. Maybe not trade as much. Chevron Corporation falls into that category, and lo and behold, that's running into some major resistance too. Dennis
Yeah.
had the 4-day high at 102.33. Sniffed it yesterday, got up to 102.17. Tells me there's some algo out there selling at 102 and a quarter.
Yeah, something. You've got these stocks that kind of range bound. I mean, the bottom on this is incredible. You got this whole beautiful bottom where we were talking about the last 3 or 4 shows, and this whole 99.58 to 99.70 area. Yesterday didn't quite get down there. I actually had a bid down there. I was hoping to get it, but I missed it by about 20 cents. I think I was bidding 99.70. It got down to 99.90, so it didn't quite get to the area that I wanted to buy it at, and then took off. If we go just to yesterday's chart, really took off after bottoming early in the morning, straight up $2. But we have been running into sellers up here in these upper 102s. Now, if we could get above there, then it opens up. But we need to get above that high from 4 days ago, which was 102.33.
Okay, it's stock we don't mention a whole lot, but we have a nice technical formation here in Microsoft. The last 2 days highs 29.44, 29.46. Someone probably trading ahead of some size at 29.50 in their book. Above that, we could sprint towards the $30 level, but resistance is resistance until we take it out. Coming back on the downside, we've been identifying that whole $29 area as major support.
Yep.
It's snuck below it 3 times this week, but buyers have come in and lifted that stock. So 29 to 29.50 should be interesting to see which way we break out from there.
Yeah, really nice though. Even yesterday, like you said, just snuck under there, under that 29, just briefly right off the hop, but then straight up. So this thing gets under 29, it's finding buyers. That's probably still going to be the case. I don't know if it's going to get under there today. But on these triple witch, you got to be prepared. There's often volatility, so know your numbers. Sometimes the technicals can really work well on these triple witch days. You have a lot of players doing a lot of different things, but if they press them to critical levels, the high frequency traders will hold them up. So keep an eye on all of these numbers that we're talking about. Jot them down, or rewatch the show and make sure you're aware of these numbers.
Okay, you talked about all the sellers at 35. Well, they got done and then some. Just an interesting note that we did clear them out on Wednesday. We got to 35.06, closed just slightly below that level. But when it opened up in the morning, there was no one there, and we got almost a 36, 35.92, and the stock has paid you 5%. Well, it's probably a little bit less than that now to own it, but AT&T, I mean, this stock going to $40.
Dude, this stock is on fire. We were saying about it that we didn't want to be short it. We talked about that institutional seller at 35. That held it down for 3 or 4 days. Yesterday, we knew he was gone. You actually said it in your comments yesterday that this 35 seller is gone, so it is open, and that's exactly what it did. It took off. We go to the 5-day chart. You can see how it was stuck in this whole 35, but yesterday just took off out of here. 36 will be the next stumbling block. There is more institutional size at 36, but we're off to the races here. It wouldn't surprise me if this stock really gets some momentum going. It could possibly take that out, but the high frequency guys will try to put a lid on it there. We'll see if they can.
Okay, 36.34 was the high back in June of 2008, so we'll have
Going
to keep
back.
an eye on that level.
Yeah.
Coming back, if you're long this thing and it can't hold the close, 35.69, you're going to expect a quick drop to this 35.50 area. And below that, things are wide open back down to the $35 level. Just moving on to the last two of the Big Ten, I want to discuss J and J. I mean, are people buying more Band-Aids and baby
Gone.
shampoo? Whew.
Gone. Everybody's on the bandwagon. This thing's been was upgraded 3 times the other day. Following through, we keep thinking the whole numbers are going to stop it. Nothing seems to stop it. 66 area is another big test for this thing. It did have multiple highs. I can remember a double top. We talked about 66.30, Joel. I wonder if it takes out those 66 number maybe today just to shake and then goes through it and then everybody throws in the towel. But remember this 66.30. I think it was 66.32 right on the button actually. Back in January, we had a high of 66.32, and then in late March, we had a high of 66.32. So if you're still trying to short it, you got one more try there, 66.32. Maybe that area holds. You gotta think though, there was major resistance up here before. Maybe it holds this time.
We were talking a few days ago about how fast stocks go down, and then I kind of said, well, with high frequency trading and the bots and stuff, they don't care if it's going up or
Yeah,
down.
they
I mean,
drive the price.
the computers are just as fast going either way. So I think that theory kind of goes out the door a little bit. And boy, if you look at this chart of J and J, it took. Beginning of April to get down from 66.30 down to below 62, and then in 3 days we're back up at 66. I mean, this is on fire. I mean,
It's
it's
on fire.
yeah, it's tough to get a short.
Eventually, these rocket ships do run into sellers, though, and I've tried to short this thing, and then I lose my nickel or dime. You've got to have your out. I've tried to short it a couple of times on the way up, and then I get out, and I lose a little bit. I'm no position in it here right now. I will probably try it again in this 66.30 area if it's to get up there. If it can do that today, it's trading 65.51, just barely up right now. But if it gets some momentum going on this triple witch, that's your next area.
Okay, Wells Fargo getting a boost well, clearing the $32 level yesterday. Now trading smartly above it, 32.15. I guess you got to be above 32 here. If you do gets below that, there's really no major support down until the 31.75 area. Looking on the upside, Dennis, a month and a half or so ago, we talked about all those lows at 32.50. Kept bouncing off there, bouncing off there, bouncing off there, and it finally broke down. I think you kind of have some free reign back up to that level today. So we'll keep an eye on that 32.50 level, Wells Fargo.
And we're running short on time, but I just want to mention Facebook too. You were given some comments yesterday here saying you think this will not trade 27.5 again. Are you for real? You think this Facebook is off to the races here? It definitely is breaking out.
Dennis, I found a way to get it through 28.
What's that?
I shorted it at 28.
You did not.
Yeah, I did. I did. I actually came up there early in the session, and I got it a little bit out of it, and I kept on saying, okay, I'm going to use my numbers both ways, both ways, both ways. So I did it. Had a tight stop in there. It was one of the few areas where I do reverse, so I did get stopped out, did get the long a little bit. Going to try and hold this. We need some news, Dennis. We need Goldman Sachs to initiate coverage of Facebook with a raging buy.
That would drive the thing, and I think you're right. I think, and it wouldn't surprise me. Start breaking out. There's a lot of technical analysts out there that look at this breakout and say, okay, now I can jump on the bandwagon. I want to be the first one to jump on the bandwagon. So it wouldn't surprise me even over the weekend if Facebook has a strong day today. If some analysts look at this chart over the weekend and think, I'm going to upgrade that, I'll be the first one to do it. So, and that could really get the ball rolling. Maybe this thing drives to 30.
Yep, or also if they're listening to our show. But anyways, closing comments. Keep an eye on the close down in the Globex low area, 1324.50. Just remember, there's no major resistance in the 1330 handle besides that Globex high up to Monday's Globex high at 1340. If you have any questions or comments regarding our broadcast, please feel free to email us at info@premarketinfo.com. Have a good weekend.